See, we need a motion to come back in closed session. Do I have a motion to come back in from closed session?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we come back into regular session out of executive session.
I got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Everybody in favor say aye. Aye. All right, do I have a motion saying that we talked about what we said we would talk about?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we certify that we entered closed session under 2.23711, sections 1, 5, and 8, and we only discussed what we had announced that we would discuss.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
All right, motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, Robbie, would you give the invocation and the pledge, please?
I can. Let's all rise. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day that you provided for us. We thank you for this opportunity to gather together and just ask that you watch over us and bless this assembly, Lord, and just lead, guide, and direct us. Lord, keep us safe in our travels. Just watch over us and bless us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Hopefully we can go through pretty quick. I would like to see part of that NASCAR race this evening. All right, I guess need approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? Yes. Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we accept the approval of the agenda.
There was going to be a slight modification.
Just an item to the consent agenda.
To this consent agenda,
All right.
we need to go ahead and mention that.
You
Okay.
can do it at that time, right?
Well, I make a motion that we add to section B of the consent agenda a transfer of $40,000 to the IDA for economic development.
Is that everything?
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, now do we need a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, so we just need to go down to waste industries. Is anyone from waste industries here? Yes, I recognize you. How are you doing?
Doing great. How are y'all doing today?
Doing well, thanks.
Thank you very much. I think everybody probably knows the Carroll County Galax, Grayson County landfills are going up $5 per ton. So, of course, we've got to raise our prices a little bit, but the good thing is it's not that much. So, Steve's got a letter. I don't know if you put it in your packet or not, but we're just asking for a 42-cent per home month raise, and that will cover everything. And go with the last meeting we had, on the cans. We're working on that. I got the approval for the letter to come out, to send out all of the customers, the about 2,500 we have. And then also, we'll probably put that in effect probably July 1st, having them rolled out. And the way we do that is, it's a mass rollout. Company comes in, we tell them where to go, they drop them off at the house. So it's all good that way. So, but we're just asking, to see if we can get a price increase of 42 cents per home. Comes up to $5.04 a year.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we grant them the authority to do that, I guess is what we need to say, grant them the authority or the,
Or you could just say, you could just grant me the authority to deal with this, and that you're supporting the price increase.
make a motion that we grant Steve the authority to handle this as needed.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. All right.
Gentlemen, thank y'all very much, and I'll probably be on next month's agenda too, just to show you how everything's going. Is that, if that's okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Steve.
All right, next is a public hearing on building fees. I'll start that public hearing at 6:12. Does anybody wish to speak to the building fees? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing on building fees. All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I don't know if you're looking for a motion after the public hearing, the board should take action now on the building fee ordinance, or it could delay until another time.
Does anybody wish to entertain a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the building fees as we've been presented and adopt them to start, I guess, July 1,
Adopt
the new
ordinance as
fiscal year.
submitted, effective July 1.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Uh-huh.
All right, motion carried. All right, guess we need to adopt and appropriate the county budget and tax rate. Anything we need to do on that other than just make a motion and approve it?
Yes, we have,
Just to adopt as
adopt as advertised, Mr. Chair.
All right. So do I have a motion
For
to?
the county budget.
Yep, as advertised.
Mr. Sherman, I move that we adopt the county budget as advertised.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Could I clarify, to adopt and appropriate the county budget as advertised?
To adopt and appropriate the county budget.
Well, and the tax rates as well, actually,
Yes.
right? And adopt and appropriate budget and tax rates as advertised.
We didn't advertise any tax rate.
I think we put them out there and just the places where it was required for them to be.
It's in the paper, I'm pretty sure.
Tax rate increase?
No increase.
No,
The
no.
tax rate was staying the same.
Excuse me, okay. All right, I have a motion to adopt and appropriate the county budget and the same tax rate that we had. Do you have,
Yes.
do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, the non-user fee. Is anybody wish to make a motion on the non-user fee?
This is still, will be maintaining the $6 availability fee and that,
All right. We need, we have three options, correct?
Yes.
All right, we have one that would put it off One that would adopt the changes, and another one that changed the regulations, correct? Is that the three?
No, the three options are do nothing, which would then have the repeal go into effect July 1. The second option is to delay the repeal for 6 months for further review. And the third option is to adopt the new revamped limited mandatory connection ordinance that was drafted to support the rates that the PSA passed recently.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to see us, we don't know what the rates is going to, what we've passed is going to affect us. We hadn't saw how many is going to kick out or whatever. I'd like to see us put it in and leave it like it go into effect in July. Give us some time to look at it and see what effect we have.
So you would like to delay that? Would you like to put that in the form of a motion? Just
Mr.
make that
Chairman,
motion.
a point of order, please. May I?
What, I don't, what,
It's up to the chair whether we'll recognize.
Just a point of order. Could we have those documents read? A public reading?
of the three
The
options?
three options. I'd also like to know, by way of a show of hands, how many of you supervisors individually can raise your hand and say, I have read these and I understand them? That's 3 out of 4. Now, let me follow on. I heard Steve say, and it might have been a slip of tongue, that the PSA has passed. PSA is having a public hearing Wednesday night on the rate structure. Has it been passed?
That
No.
may have been a slip of the tongue.
I gave you that, you mean proposed?
Yes,
Proposed.
proposed.
Thank you, thank you. But I think there's a lot of ambiguity in those documents. And by the way, I think you need to go back to the October,
I call a point of order, Chairman.
Point of order.
We have a county ordinance, Chapter A 248-9D, cumulative and repetitive testimony or discussion shall not be permitted on any member within a 6-month period by the same individual, on any matters within a 6-month period by the same individual.
so are you being political, or are you?
I'm stating a
or
fact.
Are you looking to be transparent?
And it's not about transparency. We have talked about this and talked about this and talked about
We haven't
this.
talked about the point that I'm getting ready to make.
The regulations have been posted. They're on the website, and they've been, I mean, anybody's welcome to look at those. They've been on there since last month.
Yes, sir, and I understand that.
That's,
So just a quick point of order. I'd like for you to go back to October of last year's supervisor meeting, and I'd like for you to pull up, because it is recorded, the 12-minute dissertation that Mr. Robert Hilt of the USDA made. It's 12 minutes long. You haven't taken into consideration anything that man said. You need to go back and read that and look at whatever this board was available to be done.
all right, that's enough. I'll move to the motion. We have a motion to delay the implementation of the
New fees.
new fees. Is that,
I'd like to
Yes.
just clarify that if I could. Just to reiterate, the three options would be to take no action and the repeal of mandatory connection non-user provisions would take effect July 1. You could repeal, make a motion to repeal the non-user and mandatory connection provisions of the county code effective January 1. That was the one option that was advertised. And the third option would be to adopt the newly restructured code provisions as advertised.
okay.
So it wasn't clear to me from your motion what you intended, Mr. Woodall.
So what, are you asking to repeal the July 1 thing and putting it off to January 1?
Well, what I was suggested was we hold the July deadline. Let's see what it does to us. Then,
Okay.
you know,
So your motion is to repeal July 1?
that's fine.
All right, I have a motion to repeal it July 1. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, discussion. I do have a couple,
Originally, I voted no, and the reason I voted no on that motion was that it is something that is very critical and important to the county, and I thought we needed to slow down and look at it every way we could to see how it's going to affect things for the future. I was neither opposed to it or for it. I'm not sure we got all our ducks lined up is the thing that I was concerned about, and I'm still not sure that we got our thing down.
I agree with you on that, Bob. The other issue I have, we have two board members here that both have specific thoughts on this ordinance. And, you know, they have other places they had to be, so, you know, that's the one thing I want to say about it. So I'm gonna make a motion that we suspend the repeal until January 1. Well, we didn't, oh, excuse me.
You had a motion.
We're still discussing. My fault, my mistake. All right, I have a motion and a second, so to repeal July 1.
July 1.
Yep. All right. All in favor for the repeal?
Postpone it till
No.
No, not to postpone it. The motion before the board is to repeal it effective July 1, 2019.
That was the motion
That's
over
what's
here.
before the board.
That's what Phil's motion was. If you want to wait, you need to either rescind it or something.
Well, if you want to wait.
All a second means is that it's worthy for discussion,
Yeah.
so you all, just because it was seconded, you can vote
Yeah,
however you choose to vote. But that's what's before the board right now.
Frankly, I don't want to put anything in place until we take a better look at it. That's my original position, and
I agree, Bob. That's why I agreed with you. So, but I guess now we have the motion and the second, and unless there's further discussion, we'll have a vote on what we have here. All in favor of the repeal, say aye.
Yeah.
All opposed?
No.
Say no. No. All right, I would entertain another motion if someone wishes to make a motion on the repeal or any other thing before the board on this thing here.
You make that motion to carry that.
Oh, sorry. I will make the motion to put off the repeal until January 1, so we can further look at it, like you said, Bob, and give that will be my motion.
So, Mr. Chairman, to clarify, your motion is to adopt the ordinance repealing mandatory connection and non-user with an effective date of January 1, 2020?
That's correct. That's
That's
correct.
your motion?
Yep. All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second it.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that one?
the board will, the new board will be sworn in. Are we gonna get in a problem with January 1? I mean,
That's a good point, Bob. Do I already have I already have a second, correct?
I mean, we don't meet, usually the board will have an informal meeting to put meeting dates and elect chairman, vice chairman sometime the first week of January, and then pick the second Monday or something, but would,
Yeah, you're right, that has an effect on that. Would you, how would that,
Yeah.
how would we, yes.
That's to leave the charge in until January, is that what we're
Yeah,
discussing now?
Yeah, and we looked at, I said January 1, but Bob's making a point that that's not a good
would it be
specific
better to
date.
leave it till
January.
the first regularly scheduled meeting in January?
But I need to go back, do we need to
You're
go?
looking to amend it to a later time in January of 2020. I think that the maker of the motion can ask for leave to amend the motion. If that is seconded, the board then votes on amending the motion. Once the motion is amended, then you vote on the amended motion.
All right, I want to amend my motion to be January, the first board meeting, and to,
I would suggest you have a date certain. It's just going to be too confusing.
all right, by January 31st. That gives, amend my motion to January 31st, and task PSA to continue to look at the rates.
I'll amend my second.
All right,
Now the board votes on whether to approve the amendment.
so all right, we vote on approval of the amendment. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
No.
All right. Motion carries. Now-
Now the motion is amended, and you would then vote on adopting that motion.
Do I have,
I don't see, but there's two members missing on the votes. I don't understand.
I know, let me, I'll just
I'm on
explain
my
it.
board, and I'm just pointing it out.
I understand, we have to have 3 votes. And we have 4
You got
people here to
no,
have a
You
quorum.
got a no and 3 yeses.
Yes, so it
That's
passes.
the majority of a quorum.
Yep.
Motion carries.
And
That vote was just on the altering.
the date.
Altering the date.
No,
Altering the
no,
motion.
you were
The
altering
motion.
the motion that time. Now you're going to vote.
Now we,
actually
and I added to it.
passing the motion.
Yep, so by January 31st, to include the PSAs, to continue to look at these rates and continue to meet and work on those things. All right, that's the
Motion.
amended motion. So now,
Revised motion.
now I need a second on that, correct? Or-
No, the motion's been amended, it's been seconded, voted on,
Alright.
and amended, it is before the board.
So now we just need to vote on it. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Me.
No. All right, motion carries. Do I have any motions on the appointments? See, we have a difficult situation because 2 folks are not here. And those folks have specific ideas about who they would like to appoint. Same way with the motions that we dealt with on the PSA of the rates. You know, it's not fair not to have those folks, at least when we're going to decide or determine whether rates will or not going to affect. So that's,
And Mr. Chairman, I point out, I only know about Dr. Littrell. He was invited to the White House as a Board of Supervisor member from the state of Virginia. And he and a lot of other people across the state. And so,
that's what makes it difficult when we,
yeah.
when we kind of short people, knowing their views on specific things. And same way with the people that we add to the board. But let's look at the committee appointments needed. There's let's drop down to the library. There's only one there. Do we have a motion to approve that one?
Is that the one for Ann, with Ann Weaver?
Ann Weaver. For library board.
I make that motion, we accept her nomination for appointment to the library board.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second it.
All right, motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. All right, the New River Valley Regional Jail. I know there's a candidate that would have been here tonight, but they having a court case today, and that person cannot be here, but that person is Nathan Lyons, and he is asked to be put on the New River Valley Regional Jail Board. Do I have a motion for that?
Mr. Sherman, I move that we appoint Nathan Lyons to the regional jail.
I have a motion, and do I have a second?
Second.
All right, motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, Whiffle Community College Board. Oliver McBride is a candidate for that. Do I have a motion for that?
He's an excellent person and done an excellent job in attendance, so I move that we reappoint him.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we have the CMPT, parent rep, and that person, applicant is Sylvia Horton. Do I have a motion for that?
Make a motion that we place Sylvia Horton on the CPNT board as the parent rep.
I'll second that. Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we have 3, Crooked Road, Blue Ridge Parkway, and 9th District financing. And our candidate is Ken Miller. Somebody like to make a motion to approve that nominee?
That was Miller?
Yeah, Ken Miller.
It's the tourism
Tourism
director.
Director.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we appoint Mr. Miller.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, on the IDA, we have at least 3 folks there that have applied. Does anybody would like to make a motion there? I know we're gonna have to make one, so I'm gonna make a motion that we appoint Larry Chambers to the IDA.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Have 3 votes and an abstention. All right, that covers it. That one. I think that's all of them, is it not? Now we up to citizens' time. Is anyone signed up for citizens' time? All right, just want to point out that we discussed, if you discuss the PSA,
The water agreement.
the water ordinances and stuff, and you've spoke to that before, then we won't discuss those further. But you will have another opportunity in January, because the 6 months will be up by then. So you'll have another opportunity in January to speak on that issue. All right, Mr. Melton. Ray Melton? I think this is going to be his.
Evening, gentlemen. I'm concerned with this mandatory hookup. I could have used it about 4, 5 years ago.
Hold on one second. Mr. Milton, when did you last speak to the board on this?
Huh?
When was the last discussion you had with the board on this? Do you remember when that was?
When
When you discussed, last time you were here, you remember when that was?
when I was here the last time?
Yeah,
Sometime last year.
okay. So it's been longer than 6 months?
Huh?
It's been longer than 6 months?
I think so. I don't know.
Okay.
You should have a record of it.
All right, we'll go ahead and speak then. I think it has been, it's been a long time, I know.
Huh?
It has been a long time. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, if you haven't kept records, how do you know when who spoke?
Minutes, I believe it was June 2018.
That's all right. I know it's been a long time, and I know it's been longer than 6 months.
I believe it was June 2018, I believe,
When Mr.
Last
Melton
year.
spoke,
I think.
I'm not talking about when, I'm talking about a record.
They're online.
July
in the
9th,
minutes.
2018 was when it was.
Okay, thank you.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Melton.
I could have used your water about at that time. And so my neighbor, there's the development behind my house. I'm on Breezy Ridge Road. And the neighbor, his well went bad. He came from through the backyard from a street that goes into the development and got water to his house. Well, when my well started giving trouble, I come over here to see how much it would cost me to get the water run to my house. And I think they told me around $1,500 or $3,000, something like that, to run it up to my house from where it turned into the development. And I'm a second house from where it turns into development. Well, now I don't need the water. I spent $1,500 on my well and put a new line into the house. And so I don't need water now. But if it comes across the road from me, then you're going to want to charge me a fee for that water going by that I don't need and the water that I've already spent money to get fixed at the house, my well. So I'm against the mandatory fee.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Melton. Judy Jones?
Well, I'm not sure if you'll let me say what I want to say, but I first of all, I'm very disappointed in this board. I mean, I thought we had this settled. I'm just going to say, kind of quote what Robbie said back in November. You know, we had beat this dead horse and was tired of it.
You know, that's,
Can't say it.
we've already.
Again, just very disappointed, and I really thought that y'all would hold up to what you had agreed on in November and cut it off. You should have cut it off in November, and you should cut it off July 1.
That is everybody but Phil.
Except for Philip. Thank you, Philip McCraw. You're our man.
Galax Gazette.
Mr. Chairman, my itinerary was actually dependent upon action taken by the board tonight pertaining to an adoption on or either the repeal or revision of certain items on the agenda. For this reason, and subsequent to the board's action on postponing this vote to be conducted no later than January 31st, 2020, I would actually ask that my speaking time on the agenda be postponed, as certain items on my inquiry will be served in the best interest after the board's vote at that time, pursuant to those ordinances.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mandy McCraw.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for the opportunity to speak during Citizens Time. I am Mandy McCraw. I am here for a couple of different, one main reason. It's the water issue. There seems to be a negative connotation around this topic brought forth by some unhappy citizens. And while I understand there is a lot that we don't understand, there's a lot that's not been explained clearly, there's a lot of confusion. However, what we do need to understand is why they're complaining. They're complaining because it's unfair. It's unfair to be charged for the service that you're not receiving. Well, if by a show of hands, could I see, if you're over the age of 55, could you raise your hand, please? Thank you. At the age of 16, I started working and paying into the Medicare and Social Security system. It's estimated that by 2035, there's not going to be any funds in that system. I'm not going to be old enough to receive what's available there because it's all going to be gone. I've been paying into a system that I'm not receiving the services from. I don't have children, yet some of my tax dollars go to the education system. I'm paying into a service that I'm not receiving service from any longer. It's unfortunate that we're where we are. The USDA gave us a loan for water projects. That loan has to be repaid somehow. One of those ways is to charge the people who have access to county water a fee. Those who have access to county water and aren't using a fee. Now the fee is $6. Mr. Robinson said it should be fair and reasonable back about a year ago. $6 is fair and reasonable, I think. That's one meal at McDonald's. They say it's unbiblical. It's unconstitutional. Well, the government's charging me money into Medicare and Social Security. I'm not using those services, and I probably won't get to. That's unfair. God is good, but life is not fair. If life was fair, there wouldn't be hundreds of thousands of people in our world hungry every day. If life was fair, my mom wouldn't have cancer. If life was fair, we wouldn't be here where we are. Scripture tells us to render to Caesar what is Caesar's. That's found in Matthew. It also tells us to pay to all what is owed to them, taxes whom are taxes owed, revenue to whom revenue is owed, respect to whom respect is owed. That's you all. You all are gentlemen of authority, and we should be respecting you for the job that you do because you have a thankless job. You're never going to make everybody happy. This room is full of people who are angry at you. They're angry because you postponed a vote. They're angry because you didn't postpone a vote. When are you going to make them happy?
When they get out of office.
It also says that everyone should submit to governing authorities in Romans. Psalms says, whoever slanders his neighbor secretly, I will destroy. You gentlemen have been slandered. You've been threatened against. But I look to you to do what's best for the county as a whole, all 30,000 of us, not just 79. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? All right, I'll move to Supervisor's time. I'll start with you, Bob.
Mr. Chairman, there was a gentleman that wanted to speak.
I'm sorry, you're going to speak besides
Yes.
something other than all right. Sorry, I didn't see your hand.
I've asked this question for 3 years now. I just want to know who you guys serve. I mean, do you serve each other? Your self-interest? Or, I mean, I've asked this question, I hope you serve people of Carroll County. Because we had well over 1,200 signatures, people that want to deal with this non-user fee.
All right.
And it's supposed to take, I know, but I just want to know who you serve. I'm not.
We'll be having citizens' time.
Rex,
I'll let them
who do you
address
serve?
that.
I mean, do you serve the people of Carroll County?
We'll discuss that in Supervisor's time. They'll have that opportunity.
Rob?
Thank you.
You serve the people?
All right, Bob.
I proudly serve the people of the county. And I'm deeply sorry that that my mother's home, that the line bypassed her about a half a mile away. I went out to clean out her reservoir, and as God is my witness, there was a dead cat in that reservoir. Now, we hadn't used the water, but we would have been using it if my mother was living. And as I ride through the county, I see fire hydrants. And the presence of that fire hydrant reduced the protection class, which made their insurance cheaper on their house. In 1974, when I was about 24 years old, I was elected. And the cry was, when are we going to get industry in this county? And I dare say, if you was going door to door, people would say, when are we going to get industry in this county? And the answer is, soon, I hope. But you gotta have things that industrial candidates look at. They want a good school system, because most of them will have children, and their wives are gonna insist on it. You have to have water and sewer, and if you don't, a lot of these companies, like I think Magnolia uses about 1 million gallons a month, and so I have voted as best I could to get water and sewer, to get schools, and natural gas came along. I voted for that, and I will obey the citizens of Pine Creek, because December 31st, I'll be moving into the audience to protest and have signs about my taxes there, Mr. Chairman. But it's a proven fact that if you're close to a water system and fire hydrants, then minor fires could become minor. They may stay minor. If you don't have water and you have to haul the water in, then it becomes a major. I serve the people in the United States. I'm very proud that we have a say in stuff. I'm disappointed that my mom her house doesn't have water, because cat flavored water is, I suppose, doesn't taste very good. And if I had county water, then that's an ingredient for industry. And the other thing is that it would guarantee I wouldn't be drinking cat water. And I maintain, and always have, I got a feeling there's probably people in here that have their own water system. And I dare say if they had the water tested, there'd be fecal material in it. Just a trace, maybe just a trace of cat. I serve the people. Consistently, I have heard, we want industry. You gotta get it. Well, you gotta have water and sewer, schools, and on and on. And I have consistently voted to do that. And and Mandy, thank you very much, because I finally got to be old enough, I could draw something, and I appreciate you paying in. I did it all my life too, okay? And so I appreciate you. And I see both sides of the whole thing. But there's more good comes out of it than there is bad. And I'll listen to the people. And I wish more people voted, but they don't. And I follow the people's wishes. I got voted out. All right? Praise God. Probably the best thing that ever happened to me. Okay? Because we have went through the most gosh-awful budget situation in the history of the county, and it was like drinking cat water. If you had sent me down there to Mom's reservoir and said, take a dipper full, Bob, and the cat bobbing up and down what's left of it, that's how bad it was. I thought it was about as bad as drinking cat water. And but I've done the best I can, and that's what a democracy is in the United States. And the United States is probably the worst form of government in the world, except for everybody else. Okay, and that's how I look at it. And I make mistakes, but I absolutely anguish over some of these decisions, and but I am very concerned that we could belly up the Public Service Authority, and if we belly it up, then all of these voices for years and years say, when are you going to get industry? Well, you don't get in with no water, all right? And I respect the voters, and I pray that the next person has his cake and can eat it too and pleases everybody. But I find you can't do that. All right? And I'm not bitter. It's just it's not any fun. And I came close to submitting my resignation. I don't even like some of the things that I do, and I get ticked off with myself. Okay, and I just wish he was my twin brother, and I'd turn into him with a matty candle or something. But but you can't do that. So, all right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I didn't mean to preach.
That's all right, Bob. I'll be down there Sunday. You can talk to me.
Robbie? Well, Mr. Patton, in answer to your question, I serve God. That's who I serve.
Well, you're on that board to serve who?
I'm on this board and I serve the people of Carroll County next.
That's all I ask.
Well,
Just wanted to know.
and I have to serve all 30,000 people of this county. And I look at it like this. I'm told over in Matthew that if I serve God and do what I'm supposed to be concerned about my neighbors as much as I am about God. And that means that I should love them the way I love myself. And if you come to a point in my life that you needed water or needed anything that I could help you with, I'd be glad to do that and pay whatever I need to pay.
If you asked me, I would be the same way.
Now that's,
If you forced me. then-
I'm not trying to force you. I know what you're saying and I understand what you're saying. And I did say in October that this needed to be adjusted and this needed to be fixed, that it was not right, and it's still not right. And I have talked to people and I have contacted USDA personally myself in Richmond and in Washington, D.C. We still do not have a guarantee of what they will do if we do away with this mandatory ordinance. There has to be some type of agreement made, whether it's an availability agreement, whether it's we buy bonds, whatever it is, that they can be guaranteed that they will be able to collect the money that's there, that's due them. That's why it needs, till we can get some answers, we need to weigh it all out.
I still don't understand what you said a while ago.
About
Extending it
till the point in time in January. And I also would like for you all, those of you that are non-users, you have several acres of property around the 3 pieces of property you own in Cliffview. And I'm just hear me out just a second. If your well goes bad, you've got a place to move and get water or dig another well. If you've not looked at the state requirements for where a well can be placed on an existing piece of property, you need to look at that. It's found over in state code, I think it's chapter 630 and section 590, I believe is where it's at. I'd have to go back and look for sure. It speaks to all the limitations as to where a new well can go. And if you've got a small lot, you're not going to be able to dig another well. And if you don't have access to water, you're what are you going to do? I mean, I'm in that situation. If my well at my house goes dry, I don't have a place that I can put another well. That's why this is what concerns me. It concerns me about placing more debt on all the citizens of Carroll County. It concerns me about the people that have access to water and have access to good, clean water that they can get to if they need to and don't have to dig a new well. I've looked into the water quality some, not looked into it a lot. I understand your concerns with the fluoride and the treatments that it takes, but I think that is once again another requirement that the USDA requires for the water to be treated at certain levels. So I appreciate everybody for being here tonight. I hate that we're having these issues that we're having. And Mr. Robinson, what I said and what I done was not political, and I don't agree with you saying that to me and asking me that question. And that's all I got to say, and thank y'all.
Can I ask you a question?
I can't believe you said that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
You said you'd do anything to help your brother get water.
Yes, sir.
You got a brother sitting right beside of you there, you don't have any water, what have you done?
Mr. McCraw doesn't have water either.
This man right here don't have water. He's like me. I don't have access to water. If my well goes dry, I have no access to water. That's because it was.
Whoa, you got water? You don't have water? You said.
I've got water in a well. That's the only kind of water I've got.
It's just, it's supervisor's time.
You know, you're really mad.
It's supervisor's time. All right, Philip, it's your turn.
I don't like to be different, but I've been an opponent to that. Non-user fees since day one. Supervisors come to St. Paul School years ago. They presented a mandatory water hookup. 5 of them got voted out. That was the people speaking. So then they created the PSA, which you and I can't vote. I mean, you can't vote on. And they went into debt. We're putting $1 million a year of taxpayers' money in the county into it, plus we got a debt. And we voted, I thought, to end it in July. Now we've postponed it a little farther out. My vote then was promised to you it'd end in July, and I still stick with my vote then. We don't know what effect it's going to have, but we're kicking it down the road. So I don't like to be different, but I've stood right there and talked to PSA. I've talked to them out on the road. I never got listened to. They just wouldn't listen to me. I've talked to supervisors. They wouldn't listen to me. So I had a chance to vote on it, and I voted my feelings. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Philip.
But before I speak, I want to get a counselor to speak about the undisclosed locations and time, so everybody understands what we're talking about when we're looking for candidates for the county administrator job or interim job. I think there's been some misconception out there about what that is, and so I'm going to have him to address it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's come to my attention that certain members of the public have raised some concerns about the Board of Supervisors announcement at a recent public meeting that it would be having future meeting or meetings at an undisclosed location and undisclosed times in the next 15 days to interview candidates for Chief Administrative Officer of the county. I can understand why some might raise these concerns. It may seem like it's a little bit secretive or cloak and dagger, if you will. But it is permitted by the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, Section 2.23712B, which provides that the notice provisions of this chapter shall not apply to closed meetings of any public body held solely for the purpose of interviewing candidates for the position of Chief Administrative Officer. Prior to any such closed meeting for the purpose of interviewing candidates, the public body shall announce in an open meeting that such closed meeting shall be held at a disclosed or undisclosed location within 15 days thereafter. I think a couple of observations are in order with that. First, note that this exception is limited to one circumstance and one circumstance only, and that is interviewing candidates for the position of Chief Administrative Officer. Generally, the Freedom of Information Act sets forth a strong policy that even closed sessions should be at least conducted at an announced date and time so the public knows what's going on, what topics are being discussed. So for situations when we're discussing litigation or contract negotiations or economic development deals or disposition of real property, those topics are entered into after a public vote at an announced time and place so the public knows that these topics are being discussed. But it's a little different with this one provision that justifies a deviation from our normal procedure. And that's because the General Assembly wanted to enable at least a little privacy to the applicants so as to encourage the best applicants to come forward. If you put yourself in the position of someone who might be interested in putting in an application for the position of Chief Administrative Officer, you may not be ready for your current employer to know about that you're looking elsewhere or that you're at least testing the waters elsewhere, and you may not be ready for the rest of the community and your friends and family in the community to know about that. So if there's no provision for confidentiality, at least for the interview stage, it could act to discourage qualified people, the best people for the job, from putting in an application. Now, the public is rightly interested in knowing who may be seeking the position, but on the other hand, the General Assembly was concerned that this would prevent good people from applying for these jobs. The compromise that was struck between these two competing interests was that the governing body of the locality can meet for only this one purpose, no other public business is discussed, and can only be done for interviews for the Chief Administrative Officer, not any other positions. And this is the same procedure that was utilized in the past when the county has conducted county administrator searches. The balance to that is that the Freedom of Information Act provides that although the Board of Supervisors can meet in this manner for this limited purpose, once a successful candidate is selected, the contract is made public, the salary is made public, the other terms of employment are made public. So no public business is conducted in private. It's really to just protect the applicants and to encourage the best people to apply. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. That comes down to my time. I serve all the people. I've served my country, and I serve God, but I don't do a good job at that. I've been opposed to the mandatory hookups, but when I look at it as chairman here, we have two people that aren't here that would have a major vote, could be changed whichever way that would go. I know both of them's feelings on it. So I'm not sure how the vote would have went, but it's not fair when those folks are not here to make a major vote on the PSA water. I want to point that out. And it is tough. I am out of water. I collect water off my roof to wash clothes. I put water in a bucket to flush the toilet. I do those things. I would love to have water, but I'm so far out, I'm not going to ask the county to put water out that far. Fortunately, with all this rain, My well is better, but it sputters every now and then. I get a little mud. You know, these things that we have to look at. Is it right to charge somebody $6? Is it right to charge them nothing? You know, I think anybody has land along the water line should have to pay something when it's put in there. But we should have meetings. We should have, every household should receive a letter saying that this is what we're going to do. So you have an opportunity beforehand. Whether or not that was done in the past, I don't know on the last project, because it seems like that one project is specific to a certain area. I don't know. I can't make that assessment accurately. So going forward, you know, we try to improve this the best we can, and we try to make the best decisions that we can. And I sit up at night thinking about this. I think about the budget, how much money that what people are asking for. Those things is what really bother me more so than, you know, the other things that we look at. You know, I don't know that we just don't have a resource-rich county as far as financial stuff. We don't have big money people here, so to speak, like some other counties, like Montgomery County. So we have to, and I'm not going to apologize for asking any school board member any question about the budget, or anybody from the county about what the budget's going to be. That's my job. That's what people elected me, is to look in these things. And I'm going to continue to do it as long as I'm on here. Same way with the water. I look at that. I study that. Constantly, I'm looking up stuff on the water, on the sewer, on our budgets, on our debt policies, all those things. I'm looking at the fund balance policies that we're not caught up to speed yet. These are all things this board has worked on and tried to do to the best of our knowledge. You know, it hurts when you get this criticism on the amount of work that I put in, and a lot of these board members put in, to looking at everything with this county. Yes, you criticize my decision. I don't have a problem with that. But don't criticize my work. I diligently look at everything that we have. We meet with constitutionals. I meet with any person that wants to talk about anything that we're doing. So that's my piece. And Bob, Sunday we'll be preaching again. All right, that's all I have.
Mr. Chairman, would it be possible not to have a meeting tomorrow
Yes,
night?
I'll phone. It's reference to the undisclosed location, all that stuff. I'll give you a call, okay? And do I have a motion for adjournment?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.